Hi there, it's Natasha and thank you so much for joining me again today. So I am definitely still working my way through this pile of backgrounds, and sometimes what I find helps when I am kind of a bit blank, I will sort them into colour families, just give or take. So I'm sorting them into kind of blues and greens, yellows and oranges, purples, kind of separating them out, and then I kind of have a look and think, yeah, I want to work with blues and greens today. That feels good. And then that's where I decided to put the rest of the backgrounds away because that clears my mind a little bit and I can just focus on these ones. Now, if you have watched a few of my videos, you know that my card making is often kind of clean and simple. There is often kind of really simple basics behind each of the cards, and that's no exception today. So I have my Hero Arts Infinity die set. This is just a die set which has a whole lot of circles that are really close together. So except for the very, very smallest one, I think I pick out 6 or so, maybe 6 or 7 small-ish dies. Then I have some low-tack tape here. This is the mint tape from scrapbook.com. I've said it before, I definitely trialed so many low-tack tapes and this one is the best by far. I've used it on all sorts of surfaces and it never pulls up my work, so that is definitely a massive bonus and one less thing to stress about. So I am going to tape down all these circles. I've put them kind of as close together as I can because I can still use these backgrounds for more even after I'm done today. And then all I did is went through and cut out those exact circles from each of those pieces of paper that I had in front of me. I knew I wanted to kind of sprinkle some circles from one side of the page to the other, kind of diagonally, and I didn't mind which way I went. So here I'm just trying lots of circles. I know that I want some to overlap and I want some to sit separately. I feel like that kind of draws the eye in and out of all of the patterns that you're creating and all of those different textures that are there on those backgrounds that we cut out. But I know that the background is going to be fairly plain, so I am going to run it through an embossing folder. Pretty much any folder will do here. We're just looking for a little bit of added texture in the background, so anything will work really good. I have cut my panel down to be 4 by 5¼ inches, so I know I want to create some kind of frame. So I'm going to use some VersaMark sticky embossing ink, and it is a really good idea to make sure that your VersaMark pad is not too dry, otherwise that can cause a lot of frustration when you are heat embossing. I am using a finger dauber to add a little bit of ink around the edges of all of my card front here. Then I will add some gold embossing powder. You can see I forgot to use my anti-static powder pouch and this is what happens, but we can fix it. So I just take a dry paintbrush and you can just wipe it all away. Then I will heat set that with my heat gun. I feel like adding the touch of gold to the outside just kind of breaks up the pattern a little bit and brings a little bit of elegance to the card. So I really like adding that. If you didn't want to do embossing powder, then you can just add a matte panel of gold cardstock or any kind of silver or metallic-y cardstock. That would look really nice as well, and then you wouldn't have to do the heat embossing. And then when I was starting to put the circles on, I had kind of had a play around before with how I wanted the pattern to be, but I did not take a photo or anything with my phone, so I'm just kind of recreating it and having a bit of a play around with the different colors of the different circles. It helps that I didn't limit myself by only cutting out a couple of each circle from the backgrounds, because that way I pretty much know that any colored circle I have in each size. So that helps a little bit. And I just have a real play around here, except for I felt like that one was a bit dark, so I'm just going to swap it over, but I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Then to tie the circles in with the background, I am going to choose just a couple of the circles and again edge them up with the gold embossing powder. Now again, if you didn't want to use embossing powder, just cut using the infinity dies. You can just cut a circle ever so slightly bigger and then pop it behind with like some gold cardstock, and you would have a really similar effect. So either works absolutely fine. I did spill my embossing powder on my project there, so that was something that I had to clean up. So I kind of did have to tip off all of my circles and remember where I had put them. But I am going to pop a few of these up on foam squares, and a few of them I want to be flat. It's always nice to add a little bit of dimension to your card. I'm not a huge fan of really big dimension because I often mail a lot of my cards and my family usually come and raid my stash and things, and I know that they mail them off as well. So yeah, I try not to have too much dimension, but I do like having a little bit on a page because I feel like it definitely creates some more interest. So the others I am just gluing straight down. This is the Ranger Multi-Medium in the matte finish. This is my favorite glue for pretty much most of my general card making. And then once I have those ones all down, I wanted to add in a little bit more. Now I have this is just like a small lunchbox of lace, a few different things here, and I wanted to add in a little bit of this. But I didn't want to use the black. I felt like that was definitely too stark, but some of this gorgeous little flower trim here would work really nicely. And again, it's kind of just about using what's in my stash. I have a clean out often and keep things organized in my space. I have a very small crafting space. So the items that I do choose to have here, I need to make a really good use of and make sure that they are versatile and there's lots of different ways to use them. So again, I'm just making sure that I can use up the extra little lace pieces in several different ways, and I'm just tucking a few of them in under some of the circles. And again, it's just another texture and another little something that is added to what is otherwise quite a plain and simple card. So it was fun to add in a little bit of that and use up some of my stash as well. They are white on white, so it's not meant to kind of stick out really obviously, but as I said, it adds that extra little bit of texture. Now you guys know these sentiment stacks here, these 2 stamps, there is actually 4, maybe even more stamps that coordinate all with the one die, and it cuts out all of these fantastic sentiment strips in one turn. These are a smaller style of sentiment strips, and so I really like that. They're a little bit smaller than a couple of others that are out there on the market. So I just cut a whole lot of these, and I don't need to re-stamp them every single time. So I have done it on camera a couple of times, but now I have a massive stash to the side of me in a little cup, and I just dig straight into there every time I need little sentiments. So here I am going to kind of pop this up on a little bit of foam tape. I've cut off one of the fishtails because I will tuck it in under a circle, and then when I put this down on my card base, you can see just how much difference that gold frame makes. So it was really worthwhile adding that gold frame and seeing it kind of pop off the page. So I really liked how this card turned out, given that it was just made from some backgrounds and some basic things that I had in my stash. So I'm using my same little trick to line things up and make sure everything is really perfectly lined up with the 4 tabs to pull out, and then that is my card for today. I hope you enjoyed using up a few more pieces of our stack of backgrounds that we have lying around in our craft spaces, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks, bye!